So this was a few months ago, and quarantine was already in place, so I spent a lot more time at home and around the home than usual. There is a park very close to my house, so one day I decided to go for a little jog. I ran from my house to the park, and since I don't do a lot of cardio, I decided to take a little break. I noticed that a guy was looking my way, but I didn't think anything of it, until I started jogging again and he started walking the exact same time. Since I was jogging, I eventually lost him, so I thought that was over. Oh, I was wrong. It's now many hours later and I'm sleeping, when through the window I noticed car lights coming back and forth on my street. The window of my room gave me a view of my street. Now, some may think it's normal, but I live in a very quiet neighbourhood, so I wanted to see what was going on. As I thought, there was a car that was travelling back and forth on my street. Then the car stops right in front of my house, and the same guy comes out of the passenger seat, which means that there's at least another person with him. Until that point, I was half awake, but the sight of the same guy looking up to my window, seeing me and smiling, woke me the hell up real quick. I immediately closed the blinds, which are a tiny bit see-through by the way, and climbed in my bed, phone in hand. After a few minutes, I fall asleep, only to be woken up by a light tapping on my window. Remember when I said that my blinds are see-through? Well, I could make out the silhouette of a man. Probably the same guy, since there were still car lights in the street, and he was crouched at my window, tapping from the outside. The first thing that comes to mind is not to move and try and pretend that I'm still asleep, not knowing if he could see inside my room or not. And then I remember that my room is on the second floor. How the hell did he climb onto a little roof area outside my window? I have no idea. I slowly pulled the covers over my head and called the police, whispering and telling them that this guy was still tapping. They told me to slowly get out of reach of the window, in case he breaks in or something like that, and they said that they'd be there in 5 minutes. I crawled out of bed and into the bathroom, where I could see the street behind my house, and waited. After a couple of minutes, I heard the knocking stop, and then silence, and then a huge thump, then more silence, and a knocking at my door downstairs. I was still on the phone with the operator when I heard someone call out that it was the police and that the guy was gone. I told the operator that the police had arrived and they told me to wait. There was silence and she said the police had not arrived yet and not to open the door under any circumstances. Soon enough, she tells me the police are there now and that I can open the door. I go and check outside my bedroom window out of paranoia, and there were in fact 3 police cars and about 5 or 6 officers outside my house. I go downstairs and one of them is knocking, and I open the door, thank the operator and hang up. I tell them the whole thing and they tell me that the guy was already gone when they arrived, but no one was there anymore. In the next days, I saw the officers on my street, but I never got any news about the guy. The only thing they found was a rope and a small knife. No fingerprints, no guy, no car, no nothing. I sat on a wooden bar stool behind the register in the nastiest gas station I've ever seen before or since. It was my 3rd night in a row on the graveyard shift, despite my constant pleas for daylight hours. At night, the place became purgatory. No matter how hard you'd scrub or how many times you'd mop, a thick film of filth remained on every surface. I would go for hours without seeing a single car drive past. I often questioned if the rapture happened and I was the only one left. We were a stone's throw from another 24-hour gas station franchise that was cleaner, properly lit, and had an equipment update within the last decade. Needless to say, I had a lot of downtime. It was midnight, and I had 6.5 hours to kill. I was reading from the first volume of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, and doing my best not to look at the clock. As I would soon learn, I was being irresponsibly unaware of what was going on around me. Out the corner of my eye, I saw a brown wood panel station wagon pull up to a pump. 2 men exited the car and walked inside. One looked older. He was wearing a leather jacket and the same shade of brown as his vehicle. The younger guy was close to my age. He wore a faded car hat, coat, and work boots. Both were covered in a layer of dirt or dust that suggested recent manual labour. These were country gentlemen. I greeted them and asked how I could help them. They told me they're not interested in buying anything, but they'd stopped to make sure everything was okay here. I was appreciative, albeit visibly confused. The younger man asked me, "Did you know you're being watched?" as he subtly gestured outside. Sure enough, I saw the dark outline of a man standing completely motionless near a streetlight. None of his features were visible, but I could tell he was staring directly at us. The older man said they'd been driving by 45 minutes earlier and almost hit him as he was standing in the middle of the road. He theorized the man was possibly on drugs. They decided to take the long way home that night to see if the guy was still hanging around. Mind you, this was 45 minutes after they almost ran the guy over. Had he been there watching me the entire time? I looked outside again to see he hadn't moved a muscle. He was positioned on the border of the streetlight's illumination. I noticed his jaw was moving like he was saying something. I asked the younger man to lock the deadbolt on the door. Literally my line of defense in this situation. They both agreed to wait with me in the store until I contacted the police. Until that moment, I maintained composure, trying not to make it obvious that I felt extremely vulnerable. Here I was, at the mercy of 3 complete strangers, hoping the two in front of me were genuinely there to help. When the dispatch officer confirmed that they had units on the way, I felt safe enough to end the call. I thanked the 2 men profusely and they walked out the door. After pausing for a moment, they turned around and came back inside. The younger one plainly stated, "Lock the door, he's coming this way." He then immediately ducks back out the door so I can lock myself in. As I flipped the deadbolt into position, I could see the dark figure moving towards the building at an intentional pace, making it across the parking lot in about 10 strides. He tried opening the door, but it wouldn't budge. He then tried to buy me some time by saying that I was in the bathroom and I'd be back in a minute. So this man, this possible assailant, walks around the corner towards the bathroom door and disappears behind the building. And of course, we didn't have cameras outside to keep employees safe on the job. The only 3 working security feeds happened to be all trained exclusively on where the cashier would stand. It felt accusatory. It was at this point when the real fear began to set in and I lost my composure. This unidentified man, who had been apparently watching me for close to an hour, was now laying in waiting for me to exit the bathroom. I started to hyperventilate as thoughts of what his motivation could be. Had he been watching me before tonight? Was my store chosen at random, or did this guy just come here because he saw a small female at register? Was he actually on drugs, or was he just mentally unstable enough for it to appear that way? Did he have a weapon on him, or did he plan to use his bare hands for whatever he was going to do? I peeked out the window and saw the 2 gentlemen exchanging glances and mute discussion of how to proceed from there. Thankfully, a local police SUV tore down the street and into the parking lot of the building next door, turning his flashers on and quickly coming to a stop. As soon as I was absolutely sure the man was gone, I sat on the curb outside, sucking every last drop of nicotine out of my cigarette I held in a trembling hand. As if I telepathically summoned her, my phone rings with a call from my best friend. She says she was thinking about me and thought she'd call to say what's up since she knew I was bored. All I could respond with was, "Get here now." 20 minutes later, all my roommates showed up in a pickup truck and stayed with me long enough to feel comfortable again. As anticlimactic as this ended, it could have been a lot worse. I could have been robbed or murdered or anything else, all because I wasn't paying attention. I'll never know the true will of that dark figure under the streetlight, and maybe that's for the best. I don't think I could easily get past knowing what could have lied in store for me, and I wish I could have gotten one of the gentleman's contact information so I could send a beef jerky bouquet or something manly that says thank you. So, dark figure under the streetlight, once you're out of the clink, let's never meet.
When I was approximately 3 years old, I had 2 experiences that at the time I did not quite understand. The first time I thought nothing of it, even though it seemed to surprise my family. But as I'd gotten older, I had become increasingly interested in all things supernatural and anything related to it. My first experience is more memorable. Like many young kids, I would talk to someone while playing alone. My parents had passed it off as an imaginary friend and entertained the idea when I could talk about it. Whenever they would mention that my friend was imaginary, I would become upset and protest, saying the guy was real. For about 2 months, I would have a sort of routine that I would go through daily. Just a disclaimer, the explanation I'm about to write is both from memory and what my parents remember me telling them. My mum also decided to record me one day while playing with my friend, and also asked me to explain him in the video. All of what I'm about to explain was obviously not seen by my parents, because I believe it was something supernatural, and that only I could see him. So, I would sit on the couch staring out the front window of the house until an old orange pickup truck would pull into our driveway. A fat man with a dog would get out of the truck and come inside. The man's name was John, and the dog's name was Lucky Duck. We would go into our living room and play for a while, and then when he had to leave, I would walk to the door and say goodbye to him and his dog. My mum was curious, and so she asked me to describe my imaginary friend. I told her the man's name and that he was fat and could be kind of mean sometimes, but that he was usually nice when we played. I also told her about dog and that it was very mean and I was never allowed to pet it, but I was glad to see it anyway. This all happened at about the same time every day, as if it were on a schedule. After a few months, my mum noticed that I had not been playing with my imaginary friend anymore, and wondered why. That's when I told her that he had told me that he couldn't come over anymore, that was the end for me, and I'd never mentioned him again. Soon after that, my mum had been talking to my grandma on my dad's side, and she told her about my imaginary friend. My mum said my grandma had become pale and looked extremely surprised. My grandma then pointed out to my mum that the description matched my grandma's father exactly. The truck, its colour, the appearance, the attitude, and the most surprising part was that his name matched, and the dog's name and description matched his favourite dog he had. My grandma doesn't believe in supernatural things, but she even thinks that there was something that came to visit me. And no matter if it was a ghost or an angel, it was her father. I'd never met this man in my life, as he had died many years before I was born. The dog he had, when he came to me, had died even further in the past. This first experience had made my father a bit nervous of me once he had heard about it. My second experience happened around the same time as the first, but I do not remember this one as well. Most of the story comes from what my parents have told me. My dad was home alone with me while my mother was at work. I had been sitting at the sliding glass door that led to our backyard for a long time, so my dad checked in on me, wondering what I was doing. I nonchalantly told him that there had been a woman standing in our yard for a long time. This of course made him nervous that someone had been trespassing and was watching me, so he came over to check. He obviously did not see anyone standing out there, but went outside to verify in case. When he returned, I yelled at him because I was getting mad that he could not see her just standing there not moving. I told him that I even watched him walk right in front of her when he went out. Becoming scared for and of what I was saying, he took me away from the window and wouldn't let me leave him until my mum got home from work. She asked me to explain what I had seen, and I tried to tell her the way the lady looked. I told her that it looked like a lady in one of your pictures, and also an angel statue we had in our house. She of course wanted to know which picture I was talking about, so I got her wedding photo album out from our bookshelf and pointed to a picture of her grandmother who lives in Germany. Again, like the last experience, I had never seen my mother's grandmother because she had died a long time before I was born. I'd never seen this lady again, but my family has always seriously believed I had seen an angel. I haven't told anyone outside the family and friends about these experiences, so I would love to hear what other people think. I can't for sure explain either of them, but I do believe they were supernatural. I'm also not sure whether or not they were both the same type of thing, or if they were different. Since then I haven't had any other experiences, but it has left me with a belief in the supernatural. It all started when my wife and I first visited her mother's new home. Her mother had remarried and lived in a decent-sized house out in Palm Desert. We would visit them when I had time off from work. I had taken a shower in the guest bathroom, and when I got out amongst the fogged-over mirror, there were 2 children's handprints. At first I thought it was a print from her 3-year-old sister Emily, and when I was done, we brought her in to see if she had done it. The prints were at least twice as big as hers, looking like they'd belonged to a kid of around 8. My father-in-law, after this incident, tells us that a little boy haunts the house as a joke. He says when his own sons were young, he saw a kid run in the kitchen while watching TV. Thinking it was his son, he got up and walked towards where the boy ran. When he opened his son's room, they were both asleep. Any kid can pretend to be asleep, which he didn't think much of. The next few times we come, Emily has started to talk about her imaginary friend, and we ask who it is, and she says the word ghost, which is something we've never talked about around her. We ask her where is the ghost, and she goes where her room is and points to the middle of the floor and proceeds to lay down like she's dead. We laugh nervously now, thinking there's an actual ghost there that's harmless, but it gets worse. Around February, I had to go away for work 2 to 3 weeks. My wife stayed over at her mum's house during my absence with our 2-month-old son David. She tells me that one night at 4 a.m. she's feeding David, and she starts to drift off to sleep. All of a sudden, the door in the bathroom starts creaking open, and she sees the arms of a little kid following it. The door closes, and she hears footsteps run and slam into another door. This can't be her Emily, because she's asleep with her mum. Now it's June, and we come to pick up her sister for 2 weeks, and that night, as we're asleep, my wife had a very realistic dream. In her dream, we had gotten into a fight, and when I left, she was in a tub of water holding something down, like a child drowning. She says she prayed to the archangel Michael for protection, but before it ended, she heard a very dark voice whisper in her ear, "You're doing great." 2 weeks later, we come back to drop off Emily, and she has a dream that night of a little kid whispering in her ear and laughing. Her mum then tells us a month before she was sleeping and had heard the same thing, except the child says, "Billy, he's coming." Then she hears heavy footsteps down the hall and feels her legs go numb, followed by a heavy hit in her chest that blacks her out. I'm not sure what's going on in that house. I'm honestly scared for them and my child when I'm going over there. If anyone knows how I can ward this off, it would be greatly appreciated. This all started when I was about 12. My parents had just gotten divorced, and I was in a pretty bad place. I still had imaginary friends at that age, but I imagine it's because I didn't really have many real friends. Anyway, I remember one friend in particular whose name was Zach. Now I met Zach when I was about 8, so you can imagine we'd been friends for quite a while. Since I had grown since I met Zach, I was starting to realize that something wasn't quite right about him. When I first met him, I saw he had a rope necklace around his neck. I didn't realize at my young age that it was a noose. The only reason I know it's a noose now is because I had met him by a tree as a child, where there is a rather large rope burn in one of the branches. Anyway, I started to realize that Zach wasn't the same as he had been when I first met him. He grew older like I did, which none of my other imaginary friends had done, and he was starting to act differently, kind of like most teenagers do, except he'd make strange noises and try to tell me who to trust and be friends with. When I didn't listen to him, he'd get angry. Now that I've grown up, I realize Zach isn't human, but little 12-year-old me didn't know that. Little me thought that maybe he was just angry, and he was. One night I was staying over at my friend's house. We had been staying up all night and watched scary movies that neither of us should have been watching. After the movies, my friend wanted to go to sleep, and I was pretty tired, so we did. That was a bad idea. At around 3 in the morning, I woke to the sound of someone opening the bathroom door. At first I thought it was her dad getting home to check on us, as he worked the night shift and usually arrived at around 3 a.m. But I was wrong. It was Zach. I saw him right there in front of me, solid. I remember he had really dark hair and green eyes, and so many freckles. I wasn't scared, but I was confused. I only ever saw Zach by the tree where we met. I don't remember anything after seeing him at first. All I remember is my friend's mum yelling at me to come inside from the pouring rain. I was soaked and scared, and I couldn't remember why I was outside or how I got there. I just remember telling her that Zach wanted to play with me. I didn't see much of Zach after that. Maybe it's because I had told him to go away, and that he had got me in trouble. Well, I didn't see him until recently. I'm 23 now, and a caregiver for elderly and special needs patients. Needless to say, I'm well past the age when I should have an imaginary friend. The other night, I was caring for a client who lives in a pretty secluded area, which normally doesn't bother me, except it was getting dark fast, and I'm not a fan of the dark. I hate driving in it and being stuck in it. I was making her dinner as we were talking about her favorite show, America's Got Talent. She stopped in the middle of speaking and looked at me and said, "I have to ask you if you don't mind. Who is your handsome friend?" I wasn't sure who she was talking about, but I should note that this woman is sharp. She's got her wits about her and is smart. I turned and asked her what she was talking about, and she said, "The young man who came with you. Dark hair, pretty eyes. Says his name is Zach." I couldn't believe it. I thought Zach wasn't real. I was sure he wasn't. I didn't say anything to her, and just fed her before leaving. Today I was working with a special needs client who is nonverbal. He never says a thing. I took him out for ice cream and got him a bowl of chocolate, and myself mint chocolate chip. I asked him if he liked his ice cream, only expecting a nod. I got more than I bargained for. He looked at me and smiled and said, "You know that chocolate is my favorite, Cassie." My nickname is Cassie, but none of my clients know that. If they call me by my legal name, it's Sam, but this client has never called me anything because he can't talk. I think it's very clear that Zach is back in my life, and he's not going anywhere. But I have to wonder if Zach is a ghost or something much darker. When I was younger, I lived in this house in the middle of nowhere. It was very close to a cemetery. When we first moved in, I was 4, and we later moved out when I was 6. We ended up moving back in the same house when I was 8. I had 2 imaginary friends. They were the ages of 12. Their names were Ashley and Alyssa. I remember them so clearly. I even remember them helping me clean my room and keeping me company when I was alone. I thought it was odd how my parents could never see them, but they would laugh at me when I brought them up. I never counted them as imaginary. I did have an actual imaginary friend who I called Sarah, but I never saw her and I knew I created her, so I knew the difference between imaginary and non-imaginary. I would always have dreams of Ashley and Alyssa basically every night, and there was one dream in particular that I remember very clearly. I had this dream a couple of nights before my family and I moved out. It was also the last dream I had with them both. What was so weird about the dream was that the room was identical to the one I had when I moved back into the house. I had a different style bed. I had carpets this time, and my room was blue, not pink. In the dream, Ashley, Alyssa and I were on the bed. We were just talking. Then out of nowhere, they started laughing and pointed at the ground by my door. I looked at where they were pointing, and there were hundreds and hundreds of these small devils. They were the ones that you wind up. They all had odd-shaped keys in the back of them that you inserted and twisted for them to move. In my dream, I got up out of curiosity to see what they were. They started chasing me through my home, and I remember I woke up running, still being able to see them behind me. They disappeared once my dad ran into me, asking me what was wrong. As years passed, I forgot about the dream, and once I moved out, I never had a dream of Ashley and Alyssa and haven't seen them since. We ended up moving back in about 2 years later. I was older now, and I changed my room and the furniture I had in it, exactly like in the dream. I never really had anything creepy happen in the house, but when my family and I moved back in, odd things would happen. Lights would flicker, only in my room. Things would fall off shelves, pictures on my wall would just fall off my wall, and I would hear knocking coming from one of my closets. My television would shut off, and I would see things in the corner of my eyes. One day, I was cleaning my room. I noticed that by my closet, the one I would hear knocking in, there was a piece of wood on the frame popping out. I went on the ground and removed it, and I noticed that there was some kind of small hole just big enough to fit my finger through. That was on my wall, hidden behind the wooden frame. I go and look to see if there's anything there. I reach in with my finger, and I felt something. So I slide it out, and there was an old key. Not any kind of old key though, but the one specifically for the wind-up devils I had in the dream. I had completely forgotten about the dream up until this point, so it didn't really strike me as creepy or anything. A couple of nights passed since I found the key, and odd stuff started to happen. It was so bad that I didn't want to be in a room by myself. I knew there was someone with me. My door wouldn't open and slam shut. My lights would rapidly go on and off, and I would hear footsteps by my bed. All sorts of unexplained stuff was happening. One night, before bed, it hit me. The odd-shaped key was from my dream, and then I realized that my room was decorated the same way as in my dream. Everything suddenly made sense. There's been conspiracies that spirits can change their appearance, and also another saying that spirits are attracted to young children because of how much energy they have. What if they were people who died and were buried in the cemetery by my home, and they were changing their appearance so I wouldn't find them as scary, since, to me, they looked like kids too. Maybe this is just an odd coincidence, and all the other unexplained things are related to the fact that I lived very close to the cemetery. But I thought I would share it with you all, because still years later, I think about my imaginary friends and that strange house, and I can't quite wrap my head around it. When I was a little girl, I tended to move around a lot, ever since I can remember. Since my parents worked at about 1 or 2 jobs at once, But one thing remained consistent. It was innocent enough for a child around my age. Roughly from 3 to 7, due to me moving around often, I never had any real friends for very long. So I made imaginary friends. I often wondered why at times, even though they would leave me from time to time, only to keep me up at night and getting me into trouble with my less than kind father. Though as I grew older, he got better at controlling his tempers. But then he had a hard time with that, which made me terrified to do anything around him. So I locked myself in my room whenever I wanted to play. You know, typical girl things. Dress up, dolls, puzzles, drawing, trying to sing like a Disney princess, and trying way too hard to hold out notes that put too much strain on your vocal cords. My imaginary friend, Lou, was never angry at me. In fact, Lou gave me confidence and bravery, and happiness was abundant. I called it Lou because, thinking back on it, Lou fitted feminine features whenever we played and had fun. But when my father was around, Lou became masculine and protective, though Lou consciously somehow knew it couldn't do anything physical to protect me from my father's random fits of anger and blind rage. Lou would simply go to another friend's house after my father's fists, but guaranteed Lou would return to me. So me being innocent and wanting to see my only friend, I waited for Lou, even sometimes pulled all-nighters just to be sure that she came home safely. One night, while pulling an all-nighter, my mum woke up for a midnight snack. She noticed my bedroom light was still on and came in assuming I'd had a nightmare. When she came into my room, she saw that I was picking up toys and picking out specific ones I had yet to play with along with Lou. "Honey, what are you doing? It's really late," my mother said. "But Mama, I'm waiting for my friend," I said, treating it as an everyday thing. But that only caught her off guard and gave me a questioning look, so I just continued. Lou said that she was going to her friend's house and will be back, like she always does when Daddy becomes angry. My mother was awestruck. Her baby girl was talking about an imaginary friend who would leave and come back, and chalked it up to an extreme imagination, but knew it was too good to be true, and looked around the room. Our home at the time was a rather old trailer in a cul-de-sac, and it was previously owned by a family of 3 women who were self-proclaimed Wiccans and enchanted the home with protective spells. Once my mother's search was complete and unfruitful, she let out a sigh and let it be. Some words about Lou. I'm 18 and still live with my mum and sister. My father has moved out but visits every now and then, and so does Lou. I mentioned how Lou always went away after my dad had his hissy fits, but what followed him was misfortune. Whether it be getting fired or caught cheating on my mother, it was always something, which I noticed as I reached middle school and a bit into high school. All I know is that even now that I moved into a totally different house that isn't a trailer, Lou still protects me and keeps in touch with my dreams. However, new house, new issues, and I've been seeing Lou as more masculine than ever and more protective, even without my father around. Why is she like this? What's out to get me? I don't know, but it's not good. I've seen figures, apparitions, heard voices, and been physically attacked. I feel like I'm a target. But of what? I hope Lou will help me get the answers soon.
Hello everyone, hope you're all alright. There are no more stories from this point in the video, but this is the part where we just have a chat, isn't it? So yeah, I suppose you guys know that by now, but this is for any new people. I'm a little bit out of breath because I just ran up the stairs, which doesn't really bode well for me, does it? But yeah, bloody hell. Yeah, so what's been going on recently? I've I think I said before that I did my uni exams. I don't know if I said that in the last video. I probably did, but they're all finished with, and I passed them 2 that I had to do. But I've still got so many more coming up in the next month. But yeah, done that. For me, I'm like, I need to do things like one at a time. I think like sometimes I'm a bit too scatterbrained, and I just like try and do everything at once. Then I overwhelm myself with work, and then I don't get anything done because I'm like, oh, I just can't bother to do it. So that's what I'm trying to do. Like right now, I've been doing this video because it's been like 10 days since I uploaded, and that's not good enough. So I need to upload. So I'm doing it right now. So that's what the plan is for this. So I've finished the recording. Still got to edit my recordings, but that won't take that long. And put it all into a video because Mortis has helped on this video. As obviously you guys know that by now. But yeah, so to make sure make sure you go and check his videos out because he's actually a really nice guy. I speak to him sometimes on YouTube, but I really don't speak to anyone much on YouTube, as I said to you guys before, because I'm not like a YouTuber, if you know what I mean. Like my life does not revolve around YouTube whatsoever, so I just don't see myself as a YouTuber. I don't get involved with YouTube. I don't know what's going on in the YouTube world. I just upload these videos. I just upload what I feel like uploading. Like, I used to be a little bit more active in it, but not really. But now I'm not at all. But I'm fine with that. I'd rather, like I said in the last video, I'd rather talk to you guys than someone with like 1 million subscribers. Cause I just can't be bothered. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm not really into... You know when you talk to people always think you're trying to get something from them, especially when you're like... When you talk to them on YouTube. Like, they think... A lot of people, they think they're like God's gift to bloody narrations, and I think I can't be bothered. I just can't be bothered. Do I really care if someone gets 20,000 views on a video? No. I really don't care. Like, I've always done videos. I've done videos with people like, I remember when, I can't remember their names now, but certain channels had like less than 500 subscribers when I've collaborated with them. But I genuinely don't care about views and stuff. Like, it's nice to get like a few thousand, and I'm happy with that, to be honest. But if I could just get 3,000, 4,000 per video, because then you get like the interaction with the comments, and like 5k is like the ideal, I think, because like you get the interaction with comments and you can sort of see them all and respond to them. When you get like 100,000, you can't respond to all the comments, you don't see them all, and you get a load of weirdos most of the time on them sort of videos. Like when I upload these sort of videos, it's 99.9% positive, like one oh, the voice crack, 1% negative. And I would rather just upload these videos and get the nice comments from you lot, because you guys are actually really nice to me in the comments, and I appreciate it. Sorry, my dad's been really noisy. I don't know if you can hear him. Don't know what he's talking about, but yeah. Shut up. Yeah, I just want to upload whatever I want to upload, and I know that you guys quite like narrations. I do top 5s like on factual stuff when I want to as well. Like at the minute, I've told you guys what's been going on with my life recently, and like I'm just trying to do stuff that makes me feel good at the moment, because I haven't felt that great for a while, but I'm feeling a bit better the last few days, so I'm just going to keep doing what makes me feel happy at the minute, and I'm not going to push myself. That's why I haven't really uploaded, if I'm honest with you guys. Like I knew it had been like a week since I uploaded, but I just didn't want to push myself. Like I've just been feeling quite drained, and like sometimes I just need to detach from it a little bit. Like I want to upload videos, but also the time it takes to upload them, and sometimes like the effort of finding it amongst the other things that go on in my life is like, it just gets a bit much sometimes. It's like, I know it sounds like I'm just moaning, and I am, but because the thing is, this is the thing with me as well, is that I always feel like I don't talk about things. I've always been like this, but I won't talk about things because I know other people have it worse. But at the same time, just because someone else got it worse, it doesn't mean that your problems sort of aren't valid at all, if you know what I mean. Like, I spoke about the mental health stuff recently, which is something I've never spoken about before, like with anxiety and that sort of thing. It's just something that's very new for me. But well, not new, it's just something I didn't... It's always been there, but I never had a name for it, but now it sort of makes a lot of sense. And I would never have spoke about it before, because I'm like, well, people are dying to what you want about. Just that's my mentality thing. There's like, I would have like... If I had like an anxiety attack, I'd be like, people are literally dying, why are you worrying about that? But like, it's not the way to think about it really, is it? So I've been making an effort to try and talk to people more, like about when I feel down or if I feel anxious or what makes me feel anxious, and I'm just making an effort to sort of talk about it with people, and I feel a bit better recently, to be honest. That's a good thing. But a proper waffle. Sometimes I just go off on these tangents. I don't know why I'm talking about this now. I was talking about people on YouTube that I get on with. I don't know who I said I get on with. I get on with MORTIS, who was in this video, obviously. Obviously my brother. That's Insomniac. Goodnight Goosebumps, I get on with. Coffin Brood. Celestial Nor. Haunting Stories. Who else? That's it. I don't talk to many people. I really don't. Like, I get on. Oh, the Burke, obviously the Burke. But sorry, I keep coughing. Sometimes when I eat, I get like a phlegmy throat. It sounds a bit grim, but like not. I don't know. It's just after I don't know if you guys get that. You need to clear your throat after you've eaten. But I'm gonna have a drink. One sec. I made a tea specially for this bit. Because I'm normally here for a while. There we go again. But yeah. Yeah, I don't really talk to any other YouTubers. I'm not a YouTuber, if you know what I mean. Like a lot of these others are. It just makes me cringe, if I'm completely honest with you. I just like uploading these narrations and talking to you guys and just interacting with views on that. I don't know. I just don't care about views and subscribers and stuff anymore. I used to care. Well, yeah, I used to care, but not anymore. Like, I'd rather just be happy with what I've got. Like, you guys make me happy when you comment and stuff and tell me what you've been doing, because that interests me as well, whatever you guys have been up to. And I appreciate it when you guys interact with the videos and like it and everything. That makes me feel good. I always feel productive when I make these videos too. But yeah, at the moment I'm just trying not to push myself or anything, because I've realised that, like, you guys, not all of you obviously, but most of you will watch the video when I upload. So if it takes me another 2 or 3 days to upload a video, then it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I know it completely ruins you on YouTube's algorithm, but who gives a fuck about YouTube's algorithm? I couldn't give less of a shit about it. This shows how much I don't give a shit about it at the minute. Like, there's this tax information thing you've got to fill out for your money on YouTube at the minute. It's been there for 3 months, and they're like, you're going to lose 20% of your revenue. I'm like, alright, I'll do it at some point. Just, I don't care. Like, the money's not really... Obviously, do you know what? That's the thing that annoys me. People go, oh, money's not important. Well, it is, isn't it? People go, oh, you only did that for the money. It's like, whoa, what's wrong with that? And I don't see people's issue with doing things for money. I mean, if it's for like charity, then fair enough. Like, you should be doing it for the charity, not for your own personal gain. But do you know what I mean? Like, when people are like, he only uploaded this for the money. It's like, well, yeah, of course he did. Like, what do you think these people are doing? People aren't uploading YouTube videos for the most part for the fun of it. Like, I do now, but like certain times, when I used to do YouTube full time, I would upload for money, but I also enjoyed it. But obviously, money's still a big part of it, isn't it? Like, I don't know why people have to pretend like it isn't. I earn hardly anything off of YouTube, so if I lose 20% of my revenue, it's not that big a deal. Like, if I was earning hundreds of grand off of it, then yeah, fair enough, it would be a big deal. But for someone like me, I don't earn much off of it anyway at all, so it's not that big of an issue. I mean, I will do the tax thing obviously, because I don't want to lose 20% for no reason, but like, it's not going to be taking thousands of pounds out of my pocket. Do you know what I mean? It would just be like £20 or something. So it's not that big of an issue, like £10. I don't know, it'd be something like that. But I don't know why I'm going off on YouTube, but yeah. I think their whole system just wants you to upload every single day, pump out the same old stuff every day, which is like alright if you're doing like certain types of videos. Like you can do that, can't you? You can just sit there and pump out a video once, twice a day. But with these sort of videos, they take a lot of time and effort, and I don't want to pump something out that's crap. Do you know what I mean? Like, that takes no effort, put 15 adverts on it. It's not really me. I'm trying to do things that more represent me at the moment. Like, because I think I'm a nice person. Like, I think that's the best thing about me, is that I'm a really nice person. And sometimes it's probably a bad thing, but I think that's what most people should be like. I don't like when I see all this stuff about, oh, you gotta be ruthless. It's like, why can't you just be nice? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. Do you know when people go, yeah, you gotta be ruthless in business? It's like, oh, but you ain't got to be a knob. Do you know what I mean? You ain't got to be a cunt about it. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I know a lot of people don't like that word. You haven't got to be a knob. I'll say a knob. No. Where was I going? I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just swinging on my chair at the minute and just waffling. I quite like doing this bit where I just talk, because I don't even know how long I've been talking for. Like, my recording thing I use has got, it doesn't say how many seconds you've been doing it. It counts in some weird thing. It's like, it might be seconds, but I don't know how to add that up. It's like 370. So I don't know what that means, but yeah. So I'm guessing that means quite a while. But yeah, what else has been going on? I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks recently. That makes me feel good. If any of you guys that feel anxious and stuff need to take your mind off of things, audiobooks are really good, because like, the thing is, like, they say I'll go watch like a program or TV program, but it's only like 20-30 minutes, so it's not going to make you like feel good for that long. But like, and you have to be in like in a certain place to watch something, if you know what I mean. Whereas an audiobook, you can just listen to it on the train, you can go for a walk, you can just do it around the house. Like, most of the time, unless you really need to be intently concentrating, like, even in your car, you could just stick it on, like, just play it in the background. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just keeps your mind thinking about things, and that really helps. Like, that's what I've been listening to, like an 8-hour long audiobook. I'm only like 4 hours in at the minute, 4 or 5 hours, but that's only in the last couple of days. Like, I just constantly listen to them, because it makes me feel better, and like, I can just sit there and enjoy it, sort of thing. Like, and not have to, like, my thoughts most of the time are negative, I've realised. Like, not that I'm not depressed or anything like that. It's not at all. But if I'm gonna do something, say if I had to go in and do a presentation, my mind doesn't go, oh, this could be really good. My mind's like, you're going to fuck this up, you're going to get nervous, you're going to stumble on your words, it's not going to be any good. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to have, these are the thoughts, and my brain would have instantly, just go straight to that. It doesn't go to anything positive, whereas some people, their brain goes to positive thoughts. So that's what I need to sort of try and install more in my brain, is like thinking positively about things. Because I think I'm a very optimistic person. I have a lot of goals and like aspirations, but my short-term brain sort of just focuses and fixates on negative things. So I'm trying to fill in the gaps with like audiobooks and that sort of thing, keeping my brain active, but also need to do things that I enjoy. So this is the thing I think you guys, it might help you guys. Like, don't just do something for the sake of doing it. Like, do something you enjoy. Like, if you enjoy, like, I enjoy going for a run, so I just got time to go for a run or just go and play football or something on my own, because it's what I enjoy. Like, people are like, you can go to the gym and stuff and lift weights, but I know, even though I don't mind lifting weights, I don't look forward to it. Do you know what I mean? I find it a bit boring, to be honest. Whenever I go to the gym, I look forward to cardio stuff. I don't look forward to lifting weights. I just get bored. And you get all the meatheads in my gym that just like sit there and they're like grunting, like whenever they're lifting the weights, and it's really cringy. And like they never get off the machines either. It's really annoying. Like they're just glued to it. That cringe though when you go to the gym and the people are like shouting, "Oh, what are you doing? Shut up!" It's so cringy. Can you imagine like in a packed gym? Like I don't even want to like make eye contact with people most of the time. If I'm in the gym, I don't want people to notice me. I just want to go in, go out, be under the radar. How can you be in a packed gym and start like having an orgasm or something in the middle of the gym, like lifting away? It's weird. It's just weird. Like grunting away. It's the way they it's the face they pull and they go all red and they start grunting. Like I remember once I was in the gym. This is quite funny. He was like lifting a weight and then he like passed out, got back up and finished the set, and then just went and sat down. I was like, what are you doing? Surely if you've passed out, that's a sign to stop. Surely. If there's ever a sign to stop, it's when you pass out. Oh, it was just weird. It was just really weird. And I've got, in my room, I've got a bottle, I've had this for months in here now, a bottle of Smirnoff, you can hear it. It just makes me feel sick looking at it. And vodka, just disgusting. It's awful. Do you know what is worse though? Sambuca. Oh, that is awful. It is absolutely awful. And what winds me up to people go, "Oh, that Sambuca's nice." It's not though. It just isn't though, is it? It's fucking rancid. It is awful. It's like the black one as well, like black licorice. Ugh. God, it is vile. It is not good at all. It's like, I think most shots taste like Listerine, so it's not. Another thing that annoys me, and I'm going on about things that annoy me, but what's the word? I had it in my head then. So people that go, oh, this vodka's really nice. It's raspberry flavoured. It's like, I'm not having it that you can taste the raspberry in vodka, and even if you can, it's not nice. It's like going, sprinkling a bit of like garlic on dog shit and going, "Oh, it's nice, it's dog shit, it's garlic." It's like, yeah, but it's still dog shit. It's not nice, is it? It's still a lump of shit. I don't know. I probably waffled on for far too long now, but I've been quite enjoying just sitting here. Do you guys get annoyed? Can you tell me in the comments if you get annoyed at this bit at the end of the video? Do you listen to the video and think, "Oh, why are you going on for so long? I thought there was more stories." Or do you think like, "I don't mind this bit"? Do you know what I mean? Because like, I enjoy this bit. Like, I still try and do 40 minutes. And there's at least like 25, 30, 40 minutes of stories sometimes. But like, I just do this bit at the end. This bit at the end is only meant to be like 5 minutes. But I end up just waffling on for like hours. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Anything else to say? No, I should probably shut up. Alright, see you guys in the next one. Bye.